that is one of the biggest, most repeated pieces of misinformation on the internet about the job search.
Thinking about all the things that you could and should be doing when you're looking for a job, whether you're employed or not. Upskilling, you mentioned networking. There's so much that we could be doing to fill that time, right? And fill that time. We don't really want to fill that time. We want as much time as possible to do the things that are important. So I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. And I often wonder, somebody who got a job, right? They probably don't know if they were one of 100 or 1,000 applications or resumes or whatnot, but there was something in there that made them stand out. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't know what made us stand out or what made us not stand out. I wish we had some more feedback in that process, right? And I think if we did, we'd learn lessons more about what we should and shouldn't do in resumes. I know there fabulous coaches like you and whatnot who are looking at it through that critical lens. Mm-hmm. But think about it, Amy, if we actually understood this process a bit more, it's just like usability testing, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. We put this in front of somebody, get some feedback and learn some lessons and make changes. But when we're just spraying and praying and throwing our resume to 1,000 different roles, we're learning no lessons.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Think like a scientist. Like back in elementary school, we learned the scientific method, and then middle school and high school, like we learned this over time. And if you are doing an experiment, you need to understand correlation and causation. You need to reduce the amount of variables so you can make a conclusion that confidently that this led to this. It's the same thing with job searching. If you're just constantly tweaking, but you're not really paying attention to the data, or you're not looking at what's going on and going, is this something I can do anything about, something I can control? Is this an external factor that I can't do anything about? You have to pay attention to that stuff to know what to tweak or to know what is your fault or not your fault. Like, what can you do? Can you do something about this or not? So you can do something about your positioning. You can do something about telling your story effectively. You can do something about applying to really well-aligned roles with your skills, your product experience, your interests. What you can't do something about is like all the other candidates, the mood of the recruiter that day, nepotism and bias. Like those are things that we can't do anything about. And if we focus on the evidence and think critically about it, then it also helps us not internalize a lack of progress or responses, right? So you're not having success getting responses to your applications. First, ask yourself, am I applying to things that are a really good fit? If you're not, narrow your like dartboard to the bullseye. Okay, let me start there. Let me see what happens with that. If you're still not getting it, okay, am I telling my story effectively on my resume? Am I being really clear about my responsibilities and impact? Can I do a better job with making that really clear to a recruiter and hiring manager who gets my resume? So take it step by step, like the phases of the application and hiring process. If you're getting responses, but you're not making it past the recruiter call or the hiring manager call, then okay, what can I assess in this situation that I might be able to tweak? But don't make assumptions. Really focus again on the things that you can control. And just know, like, it's not the job market of 2021 when things were booming. It's not the job market of 2016 or 15, right? Like, it is a whole new ball game. And I see a lot of people who get laid off and they really aren't as aware, and it's like a shocker to them. I used to be able to get jobs in 2 weeks and recruiters are constantly contacting me. It's a whole new ball game. So we all have to adjust our expectations for progress and timelines as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It is a new game with new rules. Was also a person who would get multiple offers and be contacted by recruiters all the time. I'm not hearing from recruiters in my DMs anymore.
Yeah. It's not you. It's just there's not a lot of jobs out there. So yeah, we have to adjust our expectations. We have to be kinder to ourselves. And we also we need to do our due diligence to understand, what advice should I take about job searches and my materials and all of this stuff, right? I would say there's a lot of advice out there. Some of it comes from people who have a lot of experience with this, a lot of good perspective on how this works, who know what they're talking about. Other people don't. Other people maybe repeat things that are not true, misinformation about all of this stuff. And then other people may have had some success and want to share what worked for them, but that's the key there. This worked for them, whatever that process looked like. Maybe there's some things that you can learn from their approach, but there could be some things that you thought didn't work well, but actually could work well for some other people. So I would say try to find the signal within the noise and make sure you understand what's this person's perspective and what's their rationale. I always want people to know what is the rationale for job search and career advice that someone is giving. That's how I would advise people. Yeah.
Tell me more about that, that rationale.
Yeah. Okay. Something I spend a decent amount of time on is busting myths about the job search process and how all of this goes down. And there's no one practice, right? There's a lot of variation. But I would say something like what we were talking about with mass applying versus being really selective, right? I presented a rationale to you for why I think that is a good approach. And I have seen that make a difference with my clients. I know that about my own experience. I know that from just a lot of people who I've interacted with, right? So that's a rationale that I gave for that advice. When it comes to things like your resume to beat the ATS, that is one of the biggest, most repeated pieces of misinformation on the internet about the job search. Part of it comes from the fact that people don't understand how the systems work, like they don't understand the purpose of the software. Part of it comes from a lot of like really shady marketing around pay me and I'll help you make a resume that beats the bots. If you see that repeated enough, then you start to believe that it's true. And if enough people say it, then yeah, it must be true, right? But if you actually follow recruiters on LinkedIn who share about this process, who talk about how the software actually works, what they repeatedly say is there's no bot or algorithm that's deciding, are you qualified? That's a human's job. In the application, there might be some questions about, do you need a visa sponsorship? We can't do that, sorry. And it'll auto reject you because that's just a black and white, yes or no sort of criteria. Can you move to Anchorage, Alaska to our office and work from here? No. Okay. Auto reject, right? There are questions that a human will build into that form, but it's not AI. It's not an algorithm. It's not some kind of automated thing that's going, Jen's not qualified because I don't see a 100% match, right? That's just simply not how it works. And ATS just tracks your application. It tracks your materials, conversations. A hiring manager can access that software to take a look at stuff. Compensation information. It's like just a place where all of this information is stored. But again, it's a piece of misinformation that continuously gets repeated, even by people who I like admire, respect in our field. And I'm like, oh, I wish they weren't saying this. I wish they just did the research. And I've never been a hiring manager. I've never been a recruiter. But I know because of that, I need to be well informed about what I'm advising people. I would say this is a good example. Again, the mass applying, never cold apply on a website. Most hiring actually happens through applications on the company site. I see recruiters say this regularly. There's a recruiter I follow. Her name is Bonnie. Anyway, I can't remember her name right now. There's several recruiters on LinkedIn who are just constantly posting about these topics, about demystifying how all of this stuff works. And so if you don't want to believe like a career coach or some random person out there, go to the source, go directly to the source, and that'll help you feel better. And it relieves that pressure to be like, oh, I need to tailor this to the ATS. No, you need to tailor it to a human and tell that story that will resonate with a human.